Get started. Good evening, everybody. It is now 6:33 p.m. on Thursday, August 7th, pardon me. We will now get started with the Citywide Council on Special Education's annual meeting. So as a reminder, this is a meeting to elect our executive leadership team. That is the sole purpose of this meeting. We will not be having any other discussions today. Our next scheduled meeting is Thursday, August 21st, 6:30 p.m. here at 52 Chambers Street, the Tweed Building, or online Zoom. So now calling the meeting to order. Unfortunately, we do not have interpretation for tonight. We had some technical difficulties, so our apologies to everybody. We will have them at the meeting on August 21st. Rose, can you please do the roll call?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Francesca Barrio. Dr. Sinai is excused tonight. Heather Daly. Mark Gonzalez.
Present.
Darlene Martinez. Maggie Sanchez.
Present.
Okay, Susie's on her way. Irene. And Ron he's not here yet.
Rose, we've got quorum.
We do have a quorum, yes.
Okay, great. So next step, we don't really need a timekeeper for tonight. I know that's on our agenda for tonight, but no need. This will be it's a very focused meeting. So the next step is an election of a chair pro tem. What that person's role is to take over the meeting and then run it until we have co-presidents. And at that point, whoever is elected would become co-president. If there are no co-presidents elected, then the chair pro tem will continue the rest of the meeting. Ron's one stop away. All right, well, we can go a little slow. But at this point, are there any nominations for a chair pro tem? You can self-nominate if you like. Okay.
Press it.
You have to hold down the button with these ones.
Yes. Oh,
There we go. Yep.
do both.
Yeah.
I nominate myself to be the chair term person. Is that correct?
Yep, perfect. Are there any other nominations? Okay, we don't need a second for a nomination, no. Okay, there are no other nominations, then we will have a vote. It's a roll call vote for a chair pro tem. Rose, can you do the chair pro tem roll call vote, please? And it just so everyone knows it's yes, no, or abstain. Those are the three options.
It's Francesco.
Yes.
Mark Gonzalez.
Yes.
Yes.
Maggie Sanchez.
Yes.
Irene.
Yes.
All vote yes.
Okay. All right, congratulations. You are now our chair pro tem and you're going to run the rest of the meeting. At least until the first presidential election is over. Thank you.
To elected officials, we will vote upon each position before moving on to the next so that any candidate not elected to an office can run for others. I will take nominations. Members can nominate themselves. If a member is nominated by another member, I will confirm that he or she accept the nominations. Nominations do not need to be second. If a member is not present but has submitted his or her nomination in writing to the AA or another member, he or she will be treated the same as any member who is present, including having a 2-minute statement read aloud by someone else. Each nominee will be allowed to make a speech of up to 2 minutes. Following the candidates' presentations, we will conduct a roll call vote. All positions must be voted on even if there's only one candidate. Where there are 2 or more candidates, each member must make a choice and vote for one or the other. Example, John Doe and Jane Smith are running for president. On the roll call, each member will vote for another, Jane or John. The council must not vote first on John, then on Jane. Members must abstain from voting. If no candidate receives at least 6 votes, we will vote by show of hands on whether to do a second round or proceed to elections for the next office. If a position remains unfilled over 2 or more rounds of voting, the incumbent will continue in the position. New elections for all unfilled positions must be put on the agenda of the following month's calendar meeting until all positions are full. Is the procedure clear to all the members? Okay, first we will elect the council president. Are there any nominations for the office of president?
I nominate myself and Mark Gonzalez to run as a slate for co-presidents.
Mark, do you accept this nomination? Great. Okay, nominations for, is there anybody else? That's it? Okay, so now nominations for the office of president are now closed. We will now call each candidate in alphabetical order to make a statement of up to 2 minutes. The AA will be the timekeeper. After all candidates have spoken, we will proceed with a roll call vote.
So I'll start off. I'm Mark Gonzalez. I'm past president, co-president of Citywide Council on Special Education. This is the start of my 3rd term being on the council. Before that, I was in CEC 3 for a couple terms. I look at this council as a body that represents the 300,000 students in the city that have IEPs. And, you know, we serve the largest group of any of the councils within New York City. We have public school students. We have charter school students who are also public school students. We have homeschool students. We have religious private schools. We have for-profit private schools. We have nonprofit private schools, non-public schools. We serve early intervention kids. So your 6-month-olds, and we serve the 22-year-olds. We serve the largest range of students, and with the really, in most cases, the highest needs. And it's a role that I cherish, being able to serve those 300,000 families and their students. And it's about doing good. And that's what makes me feel so good being a member of this council, is that we make a difference. And sometimes it's small, sometimes it's big. A lot of times it's behind the scenes and it's never shown the public what we've been able to do, and that's okay, because it's about making it better for each and every one of those kids as best we can. And, you know, briefly, when I look at what challenges exist out there, it's numerous. But I think when you look, we have some major state law issues we need fixing. There's busing issues where we can't get it fixed without state law changing. We've got massive financial challenges. And so, and that's state level. We are getting penalized that no other state's getting. And it's a real challenge. And then we got city laws that we need refining as well. So I want to be part of it. I hope I can serve you if you choose me, and Maggie the best we can. I thank you.
Thank you, Mark, for that. Now Maggie's turn, correct?
Thank you, Francesca and Council. I'm Maggie Sanchez. I was the previous PA appointee and previous recording secretary last term. I'd like the opportunity to be co-president along with Mark, and this is what I bring to the table. I like to listen and learn. I'm a parent of a high schooler, so I have experience when it comes to special education and council business. I don't know it all, but I like to listen and to learn from others who may have different experiences than me. And I'm for advocating for all students regardless of placement and disability. I'm not for working in silos because not much gets done that way. I think that in order to fulfill our advisory roles, the council as a whole needs to be informed on any proposals, information, and resources coming from the DOE to the executive board. So I'm for transparency. I'm also for collaboration. With all that in mind, if given the opportunity to be co-president, I would be looking to actively collaborate with each of the members and also other citywide and community education councils on various key issues, such as just as the council has done in our last term. So these are my top 3 goals. New York State and New York City budget, that means school allocations and weights. And of course, more information on that. Mark is a very good resource in terms of that. So it's always about, like, for me, follow the money. As they say, many challenges facing our students stem from insufficient funding or education budget cuts. So it's important for us as a council members and for the students and families we serve to understand and engage and participate. Okay, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Maggie, for that. So now we are going to start voting. I guess I start with Mark first, and I do a roll call. Everybody, oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Rose.
We are now voting on the slate of Mark Gonzalez and Maggie Sanchez as co-presidents of CCSE. Francesca,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Yes. Maggie,
Yes.
Irene,
Yes.
we have 6 yeses. It passes. Congratulations to Mark and Maggie on being the co-presidents of CCSE.
Thank you.
And congratulations, Francesca.
All right, Francesca, thank you for doing that. Really appreciate it. I will now take over the next part of the elections at this point. So the next role we have is first vice president. So as position that in the bylaws, it shall exercise the powers and perform the duties of the co-presidents in their absence. The first vice president shall also discharge such functions as may be assigned by him, her, by both co-presidents or by resolution adopted at any meeting at which quorum is present. So first vice president, very important role. So I'd like to open it up to nominations for first vice president. Hello, and we have Susie here. Thank you, Susie. So Susie, we just finished the co-presidency election. We are now on the first vice president election. So, yes, that- Hey, Ron, welcome. So, Ron, we are on, just so you know, for you too, good to see you. We are on the first vice president election. We just finished the co-presidency, and Maggie and I were elected co-presidents. So we're on the first vice president. We just opened it up for nominations. So are there any nominations for first vice president? You can self-nominate. So are there any nominations for first vice president? You can nominate yourself if you would like. So first vice president, any nominations?
If it's all right.
Mhm.
I'm thinking of a woman that's had this position for quite some time. And she's fabulous and she's bubbly and she's creative and good with her hands. I think she's here in the room right now. I would like to nominate Heather if it would be all right. Just say-
So, no seconds needed on this, but thank you, Rod. And thank you, Susie. Heather, do you accept the nomination for first vice
Yes,
president?
I will accept the nomination.
No. Well, that's nominations. We haven't voted. Are there any other nominations for first vice president? Okay, nominations are closed. Heather, you've got 2 minutes if you'd like.
I don't want to talk a little long, which is weird for me to say because usually I talk a lot. Um, this will be my third term on the CCSE, and now I've served as the first VP at the last term. I think I have a lot to bring to the table. My son now will be going into high school, so we're starting that transition. We're in 8th grade. And I've done a lot of work on busing, just advocating for families. I think I'm a pretty strong voice at the table. I'm a good advocate and very resourceful, and I have a lot of ideas um, to make our council be effective and get things done and continue the work that our council has been doing. I think we've done really good work in a different way than from a lot of the education councils, and I'm really proud of the work that we've done, and and I want to continue to do that work. So thank you for the nomination.
Thank you, Heather. Rose, can you please do the roll call for first vice president position?
Yes, we are now doing the voting for the first vice president with candidate Heather Daly. Francesca,
Yes.
Heather Daly,
Yes.
Mark Gonzalez,
Yes.
Darlene Martinez,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Maggie Sanchez,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
and Irene.
Yes.
We have 8 votes of yes.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Heather. And Heather correctly points out you got more votes than we did, so congratulations, Heather. All right, the next roll. Yeah, that'll hang over our heads for the rest of this term. Uh, The next role is second vice president. Second vice president, according to our bylaws, shall exercise the powers and perform the duties of the co-presidents or first vice president in their absence. The second vice president shall also discharge such functions as may be assigned to him, her, by both co-presidents or by resolution adopted at any meeting at which quorum is present. So are there any nominations for the second vice president? And again, you can nominate yourself. Any nominations?
Well, I happen to know someone in this room and I think he's actually sitting next to me right now. Ron is a pretty good dad of proud young growing kids. 3, right? I think. 2. Okay, 2. Look, I made you a third child. Yeah, my nomination.
Ron, do you accept?
Yeah, I accept.
Okay, great. Are there any other nominations for second vice president?
I nominate Francesca for second vice president.
Francesca, do you accept?
I'm gonna have to say pass on that for now.
Okay.
But thank you, Maggie.
Okay. All right, any other nominations for second vice president? Okay, so Rose, we have an election for second vice president. Ron is the candidate.
Yes, we are voting for our second vice president, candidate Ron. Francesca,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Maggie,
Abstain.
Susie,
Yes.
Irene.
Yes.
Congratulations, Ron.
Thank you, everyone.
Right. And for the record, Ron also has more votes, but no, congratulations, Ron. That is awesome. Heather, that is awesome. Thank you, both of you. The next role is recording secretary. Oh, I'm sorry, Ron, we did not give you your 2 minutes for the speech. Susie, thank you. Ron, I deeply apologize.
Why you remind everyone? Yeah, I'm so happy for the second vice president position, and so I'm working in the hospital and IPA, so I have resource to reach out to the community-based organization and yeah, so I will do my job well and let them know our assistance and to help more family, children, and parents to get what they need, and I'm compassionate, so yeah, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Ron. And just so everyone knows, Ron is really Heather's kindred spirit when it comes to busing. Ron has been the busing master the last I don't know, since July 1st, basically, when he started the term. So Ron, thank you. Appreciate your contributions already.
Yeah, I'm a busing master right now.
Next role we have is recording secretary. So the recording secretary, according to our bylaws, shall supervise the taking and keeping of attendance, minutes, and the voting record for each member on all resolutions. The recording secretary shall read each resolution on the agenda of a calendar meeting. The recording secretary shall, in general, perform such duties as may be assigned by the co-presidents or by resolutions duly adopted at any meeting for which a quorum is present. He shall assume the duties of president in the temporary absence of the co-presidents and the first or second vice president. The secretary shall sign and incorporate all amendments into the bylaws and shall ensure that copies of the amendments to the bylaws are received by each council member and are on file. In case of absence of the administrative assistant, the secretary shall collect the sign-in sheets, agendas, and minutes for use by the council. Are there any nominations for recording secretary? Again, you can self-nominate. Everyone can jump in.
Okay, I guess I'll say something again. I just met her. Francesca looks like an amazing lady, and I don't know if it's something she'd like to take on, but I wouldn't mind nominating her.
Francesca, do you accept?
Thank you, Susan, but I'm gonna have to say no to that.
Okay.
I would like to now nominate Susan for that. Wait, are you nominated on anything? Oh, I'm sorry. I take that back. There's another row, I guess.
All right. Are there any nominations for recording secretary? If not, we will put on the agenda for our next meeting. We don't have to decide any of the roles now. If people want to think about it, there's certainly time. And again, just so everyone's aware, the public advocate does have 2 appointees that he and his office have not made yet. So there will be more council members at a later date, and we are still waiting for our student member. Student member is a non-voting role, but certainly a very important role in our council. We're looking for a high school senior with an IEP. If you know of any, please let us know that may be interested, and we can get them the information. All right, does not sound like we have a recording secretary nominee. Ron?
I just noticed that some parents said that they call in the Mandarin line and no voice out.
Yeah, unfortunately, we had some technical problems with interpretation tonight, and we do not have interpreters for tonight. We will have them for the meeting on the 21st. Our deepest apologies. Thank you, Ron. All right, so we will close the recording secretary. That will be an open position for our next meeting. The final position that we do have for tonight is the treasurer. So according to our bylaws, the treasurer shall be responsible for working with the administrative assistant, the lovely Rose, to the council and designated Department of Education staff to ensure that business transactions and member reimbursement activities are properly documented and maintained and follow Department of Education standard operating procedures. The treasurer shall be responsible for signing the co-president's reimbursements and child care expense forms. The treasurer shall keep a record of expenses and shall submit a quarterly report on the council budget to the entire council at a business meeting, so that all members are kept current on the council budget. Are there any nominees for treasurer? And again, you can self-nominate.
I would like to nominate Susan for treasurer.
Susan, do you accept?
I don't know. I think there'd be so many other better people. So can I intercept and maybe say maybe no for the treasurer position? And I am almost wondering if Irene would accept that position.
Irene, would you accept the nomination for treasurer? You got it some time. If you want to think about it, feel free.
I will say no.
Okay, that's okay. But we understand it's a lot for your first time on. You want to see kind of how things are flowing and going beforehand. And look, we'll have these elections again in the future. So you can think about it. There may be some arm twisting, begging, pleading, groveling. But at some point we will need to fill the recording secretary and treasurers. But again, we do have two members. It'll be voting members from the PA coming on board. They may be interested, and if not, we'll figure it out. All right, we are at the end of the elections for tonight. So Heather,
So I know last term we had a parliamentarian that we added by motion, but I don't think we ever updated our bylaws. Do we need to update the bylaws first and then potentially elect a parliamentarian?
if we want a parliamentarian, it definitely needs to be updated in the bylaws. And
I just wanted to double check.
and just so everyone's aware, the bylaws take two calendar meetings to complete. The first meeting, you read in the proposed bylaws, and that means whatever the changes are, we have to read it out loud to everybody. And then the second meeting, we would then vote on it. And so there's two separate calendar meetings, so it's a 2-month process. So if anyone's interested in adjusting any of the bylaws, that's the process. Any member can bring amendments to the bylaws forward at any time, and then it would be voted on at that second meeting. So I just wanted everyone to be aware. And that's how it rolls for bylaws. We don't have anything else on our agenda, but before we close out, is there anyone who anything we want to talk about? Again, it won't be official business because that would be at our calendar meeting, but is there anything anyone else has got on their minds? Susie?
What you're just saying in general, just in general for
Yeah,
something?
look, the 21st is our next calendar and business meeting. That's where we'll get official business, but if there's anything on your mind you want to share,
Okay. So there's
please
just
feel free.
something. Okay, so just for the record anyways, because I realized that our meeting is happening on the 21st and it happens to be the same day that I've booked for vacation, because I was thinking our meeting is today. We're clear for August, so I was mistaken. I apologize. So I won't be here for that, and I'm hoping that maybe for the record, it will be stated that I will be missing that meeting because I have to go away. And I don't go away often, so. And then the only other thing that I want to touch upon, I sent out the email a little late, so I apologize. But it was just about meeting decorum, etiquette, and having to maybe follow through Robert's Rules of Order with decorum in debates, section 43. I think that it's important that moving forward in all of our meetings in future, that we just have a set of guidelines that we all follow, whether it's one speaker speaking at a time and such. And it looks like that's the way the microphones are designed anyways. And just having that general common courtesy and respect for each other.
Thank you, Susie. Appreciate that. All right, everybody, it is now 7:04. Basically 30 minutes. That'll be a record. I guarantee we will not repeat this timing. Heather and then Rose.
It's very quick. So I'm gonna be updating.
Okay, thank you. All right, so Rose is saying we need,
Turn the annual meeting.
okay, is there a second to adjourn the annual meeting? We can stay for a second after.
I
Okay.
second it.
All right, we got a second, 2 seconds, that's good. All in favor of adjourning the annual meeting, say aye. Any nays? Any abstentions? All right, we are adjourned. All right, so now we're on to overtime. Heather?
It's quick. So I'm updating the website now that we have some officers elected. If you're new member, I really would love like a picture, like a headshot kind of picture. Doesn't have to be professional, but a headshot. And then just a really short bio, like 3 or 4 sentences, because I'll put it on our website for Meet the CCSE. So when folks visit our website, they know who we are. And I hope eventually we'll kind of like have folks have their niche, like Ron and I already clearly busing, that kind of stuff. So then people kind of know who to reach out to if they need help with certain stuff. But first things first, picture and bio. You can email it to me, or email Rose and she can send it to me. So I'm going to work on the website probably this weekend. So you can send it to me. It doesn't have to be a big, huge deal.
Thank you, Heather. And couple of things. So at the 21st meeting, we'll talk again about the calendar for the remaining of the year through June. We need to get that locked down because some things happened with the schedule for September onward. Normally, our bylaws have the 3rd Thursday of the month as our meeting here at Tweed. But because of a lot of the, we'll call it back to school nights, that really interferes with the 3rd Thursday of the month. We don't want to have a meeting when there's back to school night going on. And so we need to alter that. And there's a few of those that exist where back to school nights would interfere with the 3rd Thursday. So we need to vote to alter the agenda, the calendar from the 3rd Thursday. And then we want to talk exactly parent teacher conferences, all that stuff. Rose has got a calendar that we'll present on the 21st.
Everyone has a copy in their folder from last meeting. And then the 2 people that came in, Darlene and Francesca, is also in folder.
So please look that over so we can vote. And if you have any suggestions, if you see a date that looks wrong, please holler ahead of time, because then we can work on that at the meeting. Susie?
There was something I forgot to mention before everything was adjourned. I think there might be some importance in having a timekeeper. And that might help just with the flow of things. And,
Yep.
Just a suggestion.
Yep, no, thank you.
Are you volunteering going forward to every meeting to be the timekeeper?
Sounds that way to me, Rose. Okay. Francesca, you good with that?
Okay, I would like to nominate Francesca as the official timekeeper.
There's no nominations necessary on that one. All right. The waving. So, thank you, Francesca and Susie. Thank you. Yes, that is correct. Maggie and I actually had a conversation on that this afternoon about trying to keep it strict. And while we're on that, one of the things that either needs to be in the bylaws or we need to have a motion is to limit comment from council members, from public comment for a time, i.e. we don't want someone to go on for 5 or 10 minutes. So we either need to do a motion at each meeting that limits comments to X amount of time, or we need to put that in our bylaws. And, if you look at like the PEP meeting or whenever the chancellor has meetings, they have a timer that counts down. We can't do that with our bylaws how they are, so we either need a motion at every meeting for time, or we need to put in our bylaws. So just something to think about as we move forward with the timekeeper, because we are constrained in our bylaws as they currently are. And that becomes a little bit of a challenge. But again, we can fix that through every meeting, just having a motion to have, comments set to, a minute, 5 minutes, whatever we want as a council. But that's through the motioning process. That would help things immensely. And honestly, it was a miss of the last council that we did not put down the bylaws. So, and then the other thing is meeting topics. We really need to get meeting topics through December. And the reason is because Rose needs to work with DOE, or we need to work with outside organizations or people on meetings to really schedule them. And so if you've got topics, please bubble it up, send it, group email, send it to Rose, send it to Maggie, myself, however you want to do it, but we need to get topics through December. And the things obviously change, but we really need to start working those meeting topics. Heather, please.
I want to just throw out that can prioritize the high school transition because the applications are due pretty quickly and parents are scheduling open houses and things like that. So I know every year we're like, we need to do this, and then we just can't make it happen because there's such a short turnaround. So we might want to bump that up on the list if we're going to do that.
Okay, thank you, Heather. All right, if there's nothing else, let's adjourn the discussion.
I have a
Ron?
question. So, about the CCHS applicants, so when we should vote for them, or is it in our agenda?
Yeah, so the CCHS is a two-pronged process. According to our bylaws, we have to call a special meeting to interview the candidates and then vote at our next regularly scheduled meeting. So we need to call a special meeting. So the special meeting happens two ways. One, co-presidents can call a special meeting, or if 3 council members come to the co-presidents and request a special meeting, then it's scheduled. So that's the two ways that happens. We didn't have a full-time president because I was acting president, but I was in an acting role. Now we have co-presidency, we can set a special meeting, or again, 3 council members can come to us and schedule a special meeting. So that's the process. The challenge is it has to be in person for a special meeting. So we've got to be able to have quorum to be able to actually have that interview with the candidates. And so there's a couple ways to play it.
So we will interview the candidate in person, and they need to show up in person.
So the bylaws are we have to interview each candidate that's interested, and the bylaws are it's an in-person interview because it's a special meeting, and it has to be open to the public. That being said, there's probably some leeway if a candidate wants to do it via Zoom, the interview, they'd probably be able to. I'd have to double check with FACE and DOE, but I believe they would not. There may be a way of letting them interview on Zoom, but certainly we as council have to have quorum in the room for a special meeting. So Heather's question is, can we do an ad hoc committee? And the answer is no, according to our bylaws. Our bylaws say we have to call a special meeting to interview the candidates. And then at the next regularly scheduled calendar meeting, we vote in a roll call.
So would we be looking at September 11th?
It's probably, my guess is probably realistically going to be September 11th. You know, I mean, there's two ways of playing it. You could say we'd hold a special meeting on August 21st, but then you're talking, the meeting's probably going to be like a 4 or 5 hour meeting because the interviews themselves can be, I mean, we've had interview sessions that have lasted 2 hours, and we have 5 candidates that I know of at this time. Rose sent out another request for candidates on Monday. My guess is we'll get a couple more back, and so the interviews typically take 15, 20 minutes per candidate. And then, then you kind of figure out what you want to do, and at the next calendar meeting, we vote. So my guess is it's probably the September meeting, if it's the 11th that we vote on for I hate doing September 11th to have the meeting on that day. It's kind of a terrible day, to be honest. The problem is all the other Thursdays have challenges. Just due to schedule, the other option is not holding a Thursday, but holding another day of the month, which may be the better option. That's why I really wanted to talk about it at the August 21st meeting, is how we want to play the schedule. But yeah, my guess is it's probably September before we have a vote realistically on the CCHS. But again, the bylaws are such that we can maneuver.
So Mark, what you're saying is September 11th, we can, in our next meeting, August 21st, we can maybe just change the date just for that month. It doesn't have to be a Thursday?
It
Is that
doesn't
what you're
have,
thinking?
the bylaws are for the third Thursday of the month, other than when there's other things that happen. So September 11th was the only Thursday that fit in September, unless we were going to do it on the first day of school, because there's back to school the other 3 Thursdays of the month. I don't like September 11th because it means a lot to New Yorkers, but that was the only Thursday that fits. I would suggest we look at a different day of the week, honestly. Be it, I don't care what day of the week it is, but I think that would probably be better than the September 11th. But I just want to put it out there. Yeah.
I just have a question is, who do I talk to about the details, more about the recording secretary? I just want to know like more about it, the outline, and just like hands-on experience. Okay, Maggie, great.
Maggie was the prior recording secretary, so she's lived it for a couple of years. So
It's treasure, yeah, it's less work. It's not daunting at all because we have our excellent star of a administrative assistant. So yeah. So I'll, if you're interested. Yeah, yeah. And also treasurer also. Not
So the
diving
other thing you
headfirst is
can
perfectly acceptable.
is there are plenty of opportunities
Yeah.
to find your place, right? We have not even talked about committees and things like that. So like in the past, we've had a busing and transportation committee. We have an annual report committee. In the past, we also had we have some standing committees that we'll go over, but we had like what was called the district something, it was to engage the IEP members.
the district support
the-
committee.
The district, yeah,
Support committee.
on each of the CECs, the District 75 and District, and the IEP members to kind of, collaborate and kind of unsilo things and get them connected to the citywide council. So if there's something you're really passionate about, you see a space for, you can always make a motion to form a committee. That's in your power to do. So don't worry, there is plenty of opportunity to get your feet wet in a place where you feel comfortable, where you feel you have strengths. And, if you have questions, just ask and we can, we make sure it happens.
I'd like to say, if Francesca is willing to reconsider her nomination as secretary, okay.
Susie, we can't do it tonight. The elections are closed, but
I just wanted to offer support. That- Something that you were considering doing, offering support.
Yeah. Yep. All right, so we are done officially for tonight. Thank you, everybody. Feel free to hang around if you want. We've got the room for another couple hours. Um, But thank you, Rose. Really appreciate it.
I also, before we end, a retreat is a good idea. Heather has brought it time and time again. I think we should, gather outside of this. We're not going to talk shop, just to get to know each other and we haven't done a retreat in a long, long time. So, yeah.
We just talked about doing like a more informal, like get to know each other kind of, maybe like a cookout or, something like that, or a gathering. And you can bring your kids, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, any particular date? Is that gonna be before September, before school?
I do not have a date. Yeah.
Just have to figure out like the budget wise, right?
That's September.
That's the August meeting.
Something to.
You and I will put our brains together.
Okay.
Anyone want a motion to adjourn? Oh, we don't need to, we were ready to, okay. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone.
Good night, everyone.